Number 10, Juggernaut, the Kingdom of Cain. Imagine a world where Juggernaut accidentally destroys all life on Earth. That's the grim setup in What If, the Kingdom of Cain. In this alternate timeline, during a battle with Professor X, Juggernaut kills him. And that small moment triggers the end of humanity. The Sentinel program activates, leading to chaos similar to Days of Future Past. But instead of hunting mutants, these Sentinels kill everyone. Avengers, Fantastic Four, even regular superhumans. Then they evolve and start emitting deadly radiation across the world. The only being left alive is Juggernaut, immune to radiation thanks to the power of Sidorak. Cain Marco wanders a dead world, searching for survivors. Eventually, he finds a massive underground refuge, home to Quicksilver, Scarlet Witch, and the last remnants of humanity. He's overjoyed until they curse him out. By smashing through the ice wall protecting their bunker, Juggernaut unknowingly exposed everyone to the radiation. His strength, the very thing that made him unstoppable, becomes the reason the last survivors die. Juggernaut killed what was left of the world, bleak, tragic, and filled with poetic irony. This is one Marvel story that could never fit inside Disney's cheerful MCU tone. Number 9. Punisher versus the Marvel Universe. If you thought Punisher Kills the Marvel Universe was dark, this one's worse. Here, a deadly virus infects Spider-Man, a mix between a zombie infection and an engineered pathogen. Peter unknowingly spreads it around New York, and because the virus has a long incubation period, infected people take it all over the world. Within days, civilization collapses. But what truly makes this story haunting are the deaths. Iron Man's suit shuts down after an EMP, trapping him inside. He screams for days before dying of suffocation. Punisher recalls the horror in his journal. They said it took 3 days before the screaming stopped. Imagine knowing your armor, the symbol of your genius, becomes your tomb. That's Iron Man's fate here. The rest of the heroes fall one by one, not in epic battles, but in slow, helpless deaths. The world dies quietly, and Punisher, the man who always fights against chaos, is left to bury the world's heroes. It's Marvel's apocalypse without explosions, just dread and decay. This version of Frank Castle isn't about justice. He's the last witness to how quickly hope can rot. Number 8. Old Man Logan. Now this one you might recognize, but the real Old Man Logan is much darker than the movie Logan. In the comics, the world's villains finally win. The Red Skull unites them and coordinates attacks so perfectly that every hero falls. The Hulk, Dr. Doom, Mysterio, Magneto, all are part of this brutal reshuffling of Earth's power. And Wolverine's role? The most tragic of all. Mysterio tricks him into thinking the X-Mansion is under attack. Wolverine kills every villain inside, only to realize he's slaughtered all the X-Men. His family, his students, everyone. When the illusion fades, the mansion is filled with corpses. His friends' corpses. The guilt drives him to bury his claws for 50 years. By the time the story picks up, the world is divided into territories run by the Hulk family. Yes, Hulk and She-Hulk's inbred descendants. And the Red Skull, who wears Captain America's uniform as a trophy. Logan, broken and old, just wants to survive. But even in this hellscape, violence finds him. This world is full of cannibal Hulks, enslaved mutants, and a twisted parody of America. It's an impossible nightmare to adapt faithfully. Logan hinted at this world, but the real Old Man, Logan, it's a wasteland no movie studio would dare bring to life. Number 7. Thor, Vikings, Marvel Max. This is one of those stories you'd never guess existed. Thor, Vikings. Released under Marvel's adult-only Max imprint, this story is soaked in gore. It's not about gods or cosmic battles. It's about undead Vikings invading Manhattan. Literally, reanimated Viking warriors from centuries ago rise and attack modern-day New York. Thor, the god of thunder, must fight them. But these aren't movie-friendly enemies. These are bloodthirsty, rotting warriors ripping through civilians and soldiers alike. The violence is unrelenting, the language unfiltered, and the tone far darker than anything the MCU could ever touch. It's a grindhouse horror comic wearing Thor's hammer. Picture The Walking Dead meets Vikings, with Marvel's Thunder God trying to hold the line as the world burns. There's decapitation, dismemberment, and gallons of blood. Even for Marvel Max, this story pushed limits. Disney could never touch this one, not with the same company that made Frozen. Number 6. Deadpool kills the Marvel Universe. This story is equal parts hilarious and horrifying. When a mental cure goes wrong, Deadpool suddenly becomes aware that he's a fictional character. He realizes nothing around him is real. Not Spider-Man, not the Avengers, not the world itself. So he decides to end the lie by killing everyone. And he means everyone. He kills Uatu the Watcher in the first few pages. Then Luke Cage by feeding him microscopic bombs disguised as food. Galactus? Dead. The X-Men? Gone. He even kills himself, literally, in Deadpool Kills Deadpool, part of the trilogy that ends this rampage. The kills are inventive, absurd, and drenched in meta-humor. Deadpool mocks comic book logic, continuity, and even the audience. It's brutal but brilliant. While the MCU version of Deadpool dances on the line between comedy and violence, this story crosses it and burns the bridge. There's no way to make this on screen without either getting banned or traumatizing audiences. It's Deadpool at his most self-aware and most psychotic. Number 5. God Loves, Man Kills. This is one of Marvel's greatest stories, and one that's too real for cinema. Written by Chris Claremont, God Loves, Man Kills introduces William Stryker, a preacher who believes it's his divine mission to exterminate mutants. He forms a militia called the Purifiers, and the comic begins with the murder of mutant children. The X-Men are captured and tortured, and the story becomes an allegory for racism and religious extremism. In the end, Cyclops debates Stryker live on television, arguing that if God created all life, then mutants are also God's creation. Stryker snaps and tries to kill Cyclops on air. This comic doesn't end with explosions or redemption. It ends with the truth that hatred often wears a holy mask. The dialogue cuts deep. One scene has Kitty Pryde confronted with a racist slur against her friend, and she asks, "Would you say the same thing if it was about my skin color?" It's unflinching, raw, and real. Marvel Studios could never touch this. Religion, racism, and morality, too close to home for Hollywood's comfort. Number 4. Hulk. The end. In this story, the world has already ended. Nuclear fire wiped out everything, cities, heroes, even humanity itself. The Earth is silent, barren, and irradiated. The only survivor? The Hulk. Bruce Banner, now an old man, wanders a wasteland haunted by silence. His only company is the voice of the Hulk within him, cruel, mocking, reminding him that he will outlive everyone and everything. Each day, Bruce sets up cameras to study what happens when the Hulk takes control, and what he sees is horrific. Giant mutant insects tear the Hulk apart again and again, only for him to heal and start over. He can't die. He can't rest. He can only survive. Eventually, Bruce dies of a heart attack, but the Hulk lives on. He gets what he always wanted, to be left alone. But now the Earth is dead. No people, no animals, no sound, just him. It's an ending so haunting that even Mark Ruffalo mentioned it as an influence for the MCU version of Banner. The Hulk walks through eternity as the last living thing on Earth, surrounded by the ghosts of his past. This isn't a superhero story, it's a tragedy, and one of the most nihilistic pieces Marvel has ever published. Number 3, Punisher, The End. If you thought Hulk, the end was bleak, this one turns the darkness up to 11. After a nuclear war wipes out most of humanity, Frank Castle, the Punisher, survives in an underground prison. When he learns that the people responsible for the apocalypse are still alive in another bunker, rich politicians, CEOs, and corrupt officials, he sets out through the radioactive wasteland to finish his life's mission: punish the guilty. The world outside is a nightmare. Clouds burn red, bodies are melted into the earth, and the air is poison. But Punisher doesn't stop. When he finally finds the bunker, it's filled with survivors building cloning pods to repopulate the Earth. And that's when Frank Castle makes his final judgment. If this new world will be built by the same corrupt hands that destroyed it, then it deserves nothing. He kills them all, every last one, then destroys the incubation chambers meant to restart humanity. Humanity, in his eyes, is beyond saving. The comic ends with Frank stepping into the burning wasteland, dying of radiation, finally joining the world he helped end. There's no redemption, no victory, just punishment, absolute and final. It's the purest version of the Punisher's philosophy that the only way to stop evil is to erase it completely, even if it means destroying the world. Number 2, Punisher Max by Garth Ennis. If the end was the Punisher's final story, Punisher Max is his darkest lifetime. Written by Garth Ennis, this series reimagines Frank Castle not as a comic book anti-hero, but as a real, broken soldier. It's full of blood, politics, organized crime, and moral decay. These aren't superhero stories. They're psychological horror. You see child trafficking in The Slavers, political corruption in Mother Russia, and in Bourne, you learn that Frank Castle didn't become the Punisher because his family died. That event just gave him an excuse. The truth? He was always waiting for a reason to kill. Ennis turns him into something terrifying. Not a man seeking justice, but a man addicted to war. In Up is Down and Black is White, Frank even dreams of killing every politician, dealer, and coward in America. And when he wakes up, he almost wishes he hadn't. There's no mercy, no hope, no fantasy. It's raw, graphic, and completely grounded. That's what makes Punisher Max brilliant and unfilmable. No studio could handle its unapologetic realism or the way it exposes the darkness in everyone, not just the criminals. Frank isn't a hero here. He's what happens when justice forgets to stop. Number 1, Marvel Ruins, the darkest Marvel story ever written. Period. If you ever wondered what would happen if everything went wrong, this is it. Marvel Ruins takes the entire Marvel universe and twists it into a nightmare of realism and decay. In this world, the things that gave heroes their powers instead destroy them. Bruce Banner doesn't become the Hulk. He becomes a mass of irradiated tumors. Spider-Man doesn't gain spider powers. He dissolves from infection. The Fantastic Four don't turn superhuman. They burn alive in their ship. The premise is simple but devastating. What if science failed? What if mutation, radiation, and heroism were just death sentences? Nick Fury loses his mind and kills himself. Jean Grey becomes a sex worker. Mystique loses control of her shape-shifting and goes insane, trapped with all the personalities she's ever copied. Magneto can't control his powers. He becomes a living magnet that pulls planes and metal objects into his body. It's so grotesque it feels wrong to even read. And the final reveal? Professor Xavier has used his powers to seize control of the US government, welding mutants' eyes shut in experiments. The dream of peaceful coexistence between humans and mutants is gone, replaced with tyranny, madness, and body horror. Nothing about Marvel Ruins redeems itself. There's no heroism, no hope, no we'll rebuild. It's just an unfiltered look at how fragile the superhero idea really is. It's not just too dark for the big screen. It's too dark for almost anyone to stomach.